On this RAM 1500DT with the 3.6 Pentastar, P0031 is a heater control circuit low code for oxygen sensor 1/1. In plain terms, the PCM may be seeing the upstream oxygen sensor heater circuit pulled too low. The driver may only notice the MIL, and the sensor heater may not warm the sensor the way the PCM expects. Broadly, this can involve the heater control wiring, a short to ground, a short into the oxygen sensor ground circuit, the oxygen sensor itself, or, less often, the PCM. For this diagnostic, stay electrical and prove the circuit before condemning a component. Start with the basic system checks. Pull codes from all ECUs and record them, along with the environmental data tied to the fault. Then clear the codes, turn the ignition off for a minimum of 10.0 seconds, turn the ignition back on and operate the vehicle under the captured conditions and the monitor gate. This code is monitored with battery voltage between 10.5 and 15.75 volts, and the PCM sets it when it detects the O2 sensor heater circuit resistance below approximately 2.0 ohms. After that, read codes again. If P0031 returns, continue into circuit testing. If it does not return, treat it as an intermittent condition and do not force a hard fault diagnosis that is not there. Next, isolate the O2 sensor 1/1K99 heater control circuit and check it for a short to ground. The ignition must be off for this continuity to ground test. Disconnect the ECU and every component connector that contains the circuit being tested. Then use the wiring layout to follow the circuit path. Put the DVOM negative lead on a known good ground and probe the circuit at the component connector with the positive lead. There should be no continuity between ground and that circuit. Do not probe the PCM harness connector directly. If a PCM terminal has to be accessed, use adapter 10436, the GPEC diagnostic adapter. Also remember that this adapter can add up to 1.5 ohms of resistance to the circuit. If there is continuity to ground, repair the short to ground and verify the repair. If there is no continuity, move on. Now check whether the K99 heater control circuit is shorted to the Z933 oxygen sensor ground circuit. Again, the ignition must be off when checking for a short between circuits. Keep the ECU and all related component connectors disconnected so the circuit is isolated. Connect the DVOM leads between the two circuits at the component connector and check for continuity. There should be no continuity between those circuits. If continuity is present, repair the short between the circuits and verify the repair. If there is no continuity, continue to the commanded heater control test. Reconnect the PCM connector and turn the ignition on. Command the listed oxygen sensor heater control to the maximum allowable percentage with the scan tool. Using a 12-volt test light connected to ground, probe the O2 sensor 1/1K99 heater control circuit at the listed oxygen sensor harness connector. With the actuator commanded on, the test light should illuminate, and brightness will depend on the actuation percentage selected. Then command the actuator OFF at 0%, and the test light should go out. If the light behaves correctly, the diagnostic branch calls for oxygen sensor replacement and then verification. If it does not behave correctly, continue to connection checks. One important caution here. The diagnostic is for sensor 1/1, but this actuator branch names sensor 1/2 in the command, connector, and replacement callout. Treat that as a stop and verify point before condemning any sensor. If the command test does not pass, move into the connection side of the diagnosis. Perform any applicable service bulletins, then disconnect the PCM connectors, any related inline connectors, and the related component connectors. Inspect the harness connectors, component connectors, and terminals carefully. Look for poor seating, damaged locks, corrosion, water intrusion, seal damage, bent terminals, signs of overheating, terminals pushed back in the cavity, spread terminals, and weak terminal tension. Repair any condition you find. Then reconnect the PCM, inline connectors, and component connectors, making sure every connector is fully seated and every lock is engaged. Clear the codes, Operate the vehicle under the monitored and set conditions and read codes again. If P0031 does not return, the wiring or poor connection problem has been repaired. If it does return after those checks, the diagnostic path moves to replacing and programming the PCM, followed by verification. Keep the repair verification separate from the circuit testing. After any repair decision in this path, clear the DTCs, run the vehicle under the same kind of conditions that set the fault, and confirm P0031 stays gone. The takeaway is simple. This is a low heater control circuit code, so prove the shorts first, prove the command response next, inspect the connections before blaming the controller, and do not overlook the sensor designation conflict in the actuator branch. For more diagnostic training, visit stepdiagnostics.com.